Hello everyone, a warm welcome and thank you for joining us as we celebrate the World Breastfeeding Month. This month is all about raising awareness, breaking myths, and supporting mothers on one of the most beautiful yet sometimes challenging journeys, breastfeeding. And what better way to mark this occasion than by having a real heart to heart conversation with someone who's been guiding and empowering mothers all across the globe, Mrs. Vandana Chawla. Thank you, ma'am, for joining us.
Thank you, Mehak.
She's a registered nutritionist with UKVRN, a certified breastfeeding specialist from the USA, and founder of Nutribaby Nutrition Consultancy. She's helped hundreds of mothers navigate their feeding journey with confidence. So we'll keep this light and conversational. And if you're listening in and something clicks or brings back a memory, feel free to drop a comment or share your insights. So, ma'am, let us start with the questions. So, you have worked with mothers from so many different backgrounds and cultures. What are some of the most common fears or myths that keep showing up when it comes to breastfeeding?
Hi, Mehak. I would like to congratulate everyone on the occasion of this breastfeeding month. And thank you for inviting me in. Now, regarding the myths and fears, you're absolutely right. All across the different cultures, there are different types of myths and different kind of fears that the mothers are always holding. So some of the commonest one, which I will just list down is, number one is that many times mothers says that I have a small breast, so I will not be able to produce enough milk. Well, the truth is that the size of your breast is based upon the amount of fatty tissues which are present in the breast, whereas the milk comes from another set of tissue which is called glandular tissue. So there is no relationship between the fatty tissue and the glandular tissue. So therefore, whether your breast size is big, small, whatever the size may be, do not feel bad about it, but rather always remember that it will not affect your milk production. That is number one. Then coming to another myth is that many a times mothers do get this advice from other people, or whether it is seniors or elders at home, that you should drink a lot of milk to make milk. And many times the mothers who comes to me for consultation, they always feel that they don't like drinking milk, and they hate milk, and then what should I do? I will not be able to produce enough milk. Well, the truth is, yes, you require a lot of fluids, but not necessarily in the form of milk. Milk is also very important because milk is a great source of calcium, but at the same time, try to make your milk tasty by making some smoothies or milkshakes, something of that sort, so at least you're able to take 1 to 2 cups. But other than that, you should have the other type of fluids also, so that you are well hydrated at all times. So for that, you can include green tea, you can include coconut water, you can use infused water, plain water, chas, nimbu pani, soups. All are variety of fluids that you can include in your diet. Even something like, which we have been posting on our website, on the Insta also, that you can go for something like jeera water and all. These are something which are very good and very soothing for the body, for the digestion, and can help to prepare good amount of milk. Then another myth, which is that if my baby is feeding often, then it means that maybe my milk supply is not sufficient. My baby is not being satisfied with one feed. So answer is, frequent feeding, particularly in the early stages of breastfeeding, is something which is very normal for babies. So do not get worried about it. Some babies also go for cluster feeds. They take a lot of feeds in the first go, and then they take a long gap. They sleep, nap well, and then they get up and again take that. So that's absolutely fine. You don't have to think that if your baby is asking for feeds more often, that means your milk supply is not sufficient. And lastly, many a times they get this advice that formula is as good as breast milk. Aajkal to it is latest. Okay, in our times people used to say, but no, I would strongly say that there is nothing which can match breast milk. No factory made milk can ever match breast milk, whether it's in its composition, whether it's in any way, it just cannot match. So remember, breast milk is just uniquely tailored for your baby, and this is one such milk which will not only nutritionally be healthy, but will also create a very beautiful, lovely, healthy relationship between you and your baby. So therefore, during this month, I would say mothers who are breastfeeding or who have to start their journey of breastfeeding, breastfeed confidently, and do not let the myths hold you back.
Right. So thank you, ma'am. That was very informative. Now, the next set of questions will be asked by Narayani, who's here with us. So, Narayani, over to you.
Thank you so much, Meher. Hello, ma'am. How are you?
I'm
Uh,
good, thank you, Nayani.
Thank you so much. My question is a very common concern. Something I've heard is very often. I don't think I'm producing enough milk. It causes a lot of panic. Could you please walk us through how breast milk supply really works and how a mom can actually tell if her baby is getting enough?
Okay. Yeah, this is also another common concern, Narani, and you're absolutely right about it. Well, I would say that milk production totally depends upon supply and demand. That means when we say supply and demand, that means the more often you feed your baby, the more quickly your breasts are emptied, the more milk your breasts start producing. Okay, now milk production and the letting down of the milk happens with the help of two hormones. One is prolactin, the other is oxytocin. So whenever the milk is, your breasts are getting emptied out, at that time your brain gets the signal, more prolactin comes, as a result of which more milk production happens. But at the same time there is a feedback loop also which is working. That means if the milk is not been emptied from your breast, or there is still milk in present in the breast, then under such circumstances the brain will again get a signal to stop producing the milk, and thereby the milk production doesn't happen. So that's the reason why we keep telling mothers that please every feed make sure that you empty out the breast completely, so that there is fresh production of milk always happening. Another thing that is dependent is about the colostrum and the mature milk. Please remember that in the initial first few days your breast would be producing a very yellowish thick sticky kind of fluid called colostrum, which would be just per feed, it would be only 5 ml which will be coming out. So at that time mothers first 2 days they get very nervous, and if there is no one right or the right person to help them or guide them, they feel that their milk is not sufficient, or their breasts are not producing enough milk. That's not the case. Remember, as I said earlier, the breast milk is tailored to meet the needs of your baby. So during the first 2 days your baby's needs are very small. He needs very little amount of milk, so therefore your milk is also being produced in very small amounts, which is just 5 ml per feed. Then we see that from day 3 to day 14, again varying from mother to mother, the volume then starts increasing, and then the mothers also start feeling that their breast is quite full and they can feed their baby. Mature milk actually starts coming after 2 weeks of delivery, and that is the one which will start stabilizing the baby's feeds also, and this production supply chain also begins. Now, how to make sure, what are those indicators that you should be knowing of that will make sure that you are having an adequate milk supply? Number one is that baby, you are able to feed 8 to 12 times in about 24 hours. Remember, whenever we talk about it in terms of 24 hours, not in per day. Because for baby, there is no concept of day and night. So baby is able to take 8 to 12 times feeds in 24 hours. Baby is active, baby is alert, and baby starts gaining weight from the 10th day after birth. Baby is showing approximately 6+ wet diapers, and poops also are sometimes, in some babies it is after every breastfeed, and sometimes it could be at least one after 2 or 3 feeds. So if all this is happening and you find that baby is doing all well, that means your milk supply is adequate. Right? So remember, the more you feed, the more your breast is going to produce. The more you empty your breast, the more milk is going to be produced by your breast.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you so much. So, next question is, when mom falls sick, I'll
Yeah.
just relatable scenario, like if
Okay.
a mom has a cold or fever. So,
Oh,
immediately start worrying, like, should I stop feeding my baby? What's the,
yes.
like, is it safe to continue breastfeeding when you are unwell?
Yes, you can and you should, because your milk has got some protective antibodies. Now, these antibodies, which are produced in your body to fight the infection that you are having, that will help your baby to fight the same infection. Okay, just imagine that now, once if the mother is sick, her body is producing antibodies. Now, these antibodies via your milk is going into the baby's body. So what are these antibodies? These are the ones which are protecting the baby also from the same infection. And then another thing is that if you stop breastfeeding, not only it's going to affect your breast milk supply also, but it can also deprive your baby of the natural immunity. So remember, you have to continue breastfeeding, and the common illnesses where a mother can safely breastfeed her baby is cold, flu, fever, sore throat, mild food indigestion or stomach upset, mild infections which can be treated with some safe antibiotics or medications. Under all these circumstances, mothers can safely breastfeed their baby. Even during COVID times, when I had a lot of consultations coming in, at that time also, WHO had very strongly recommended that mothers can continue to breastfeed even if they are having COVID-19. And that is what we continue to say. Only thing is that mothers have to maintain precautions while she is feeding if she's having any kind of infection, particularly respiratory infection, by using a mask, by keeping her hands always hygienically, safe and clean, so that while she's handling the baby, all hygiene is well maintained. And another thing is that if she's put on any kind of antibiotics or medications during the illness, she should always inform her doctor that she is breastfeeding. She should show her willingness to continue to breastfeed and say that, doctor, give me those medicines which are safe and which will not impact my breastfeeding. So definitely you can go ahead and breastfeed. But there are certain very serious medical conditions like HIV or certain cancer treatments which the mothers are going through. Those are the conditions where we definitely tell mothers not to breastfeed for that time period. But for these common illnesses like flu, fever, sore throat, indigestion, all these, and even a condition like COVID-19, we say that mothers can safely breastfeed their baby.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Here's the last question from my side. Like,
Okay.
we all know that new motherhood comes with emotional highs and lows.
Yeah.
How does this stress impact breastfeeding? And are there small, manageable ways mom can handle stress, without feeling overwhelmed?
Yes, you're absolutely right, Narayani, that there are a lot of stresses that are affecting mothers these days, particularly these days. Like I'm seeing a lot of mothers coming, young mothers coming with too much of stress in themselves. Well, stress definitely affects breastfeeding because always remember, as I said, there are two hormones which are responsible for the milk production and the milk supply. One is the prolactin, the other is oxytocin. Now, what happens is that when the mother is undergoing any kind of stress, then there is release a certain stress or a certain set of hormones like cortisols or adrenalines, which are released by the body basically to combat the stress. And as a result of which, these hormones now have a negative impact on the oxytocin, which is the one which helps to release the milk from the breast. So thereby, we can see that the milk being released from the breast gets impacted, but milk production is not affected. But if the stress continues to be there, if it is persistent, if it remains there for a long time, then what happens is milk, because then if the milk remains in the breast and it has not been released out, then the milk production also gradually gets affected. So therefore, if you understand the science behind it, then it is very important for you to learn ways of managing the stress. Now, how can you manage stress? Number one is learn some simple relaxation techniques like deep breathing, or listen to those calming music that helps you, or go for any such hobby. Don't think that now I am a mother, now all my hobbies are kept aside. Whatever that you love listening to, even if it is something like a funny reel that you are watching, whatever that you enjoy doing, at least if it is taking your stress away, go for that. Then you can use some warm compressions on the breast, because these gentle massages on your breast will also help in triggering or activating the oxytocin, which will help to release the milk from your breast. Then at the same time, when you are feeding, make sure that there are dim lights, there is calming music, there is some comfortable chair, and always have that smile on your face. You'll see with that simple smile, your stress gets totally taken care of. Another thing is skin to skin contact, which is also given the name as a kangaroo care, is something very important. That means you have to hold the baby onto the bare chest, and this will help to not only reduce the stress hormones but also improve the milk let down that can happen. Then you when you are undergoing stress, please ask for help, whether it is from your husband or whether it is from the family, from whosoever. Please share whatever problems, ask for help. I keep on telling all mothers, please go and ask for help. If you don't want to come to me, fine. You don't want to go to any other expert, fine. But at least you have your near and dear ones close to you at this time. And it is very important that you ask for help in whichever way you want, not for yourself, but for your baby's sake, ask for help. And then you have to also ensure self-care. Self-care is not being selfish. It's not that now because you're a mother, so everything has to be around baby. Yes, it has to be around baby, but it will happen only if you are looking after yourself also in a good way. So self-care is equally important. Make sure you get good sleep, make sure you are well hydrated, make sure you are eating well, do not skip meals. And if possible, if you can do some light physical activity within home itself, like some small walks with the baby or something, that will also help. But if there is persistent anxiety, persistent stress, or you are feeling a lack of sleep or panic attacks that you are getting and you feel that you are not able to cope up with, then those are the signs which would indicate that it is gradually taking you to what we call it as PPD, or the postpartum depression. That is a time when it is very important for you to seek outside help and take help from the experts. But do not worry. First, try these simple home measures, and that definitely will help you and help you to release the stress.
Thank you so much. Over to you.
All right. Thank you, ma'am. So now when you were explaining everything about self-care and the child care, so there are a lot of working mothers like us, right? And so all of us and a lot of mothers, they're planning to return to work. So there's
Correct.
one common question, which is like, will I be able to continue breastfeeding? So according to you, what do you suggest to those trying to balance work life and breastfeeding? How should they move ahead?
Yeah. See, working is very important. We always tell mothers that breastfeeding should not come in way of anything. It is a natural process. So even if you have to go and work, you can easily go and work. But what you have to do is you have to plan ahead before returning to work. Let's say if it is next month, then right now, and you are already decided that next month I am going back to work. So, and already your office has also started sending emails and calls and everything. So now you know that, okay, next month, this is the date when I'm returning back. So 1 month in advance, you start planning what you are supposed to do. What you have to planning is first is introducing pumping early. You have to start with the process of pumping. You can't say that, okay, tomorrow I have to go to work, so today I start pumping, and pumping is something easy. No, pumping will take gradually. It will take some time of yours to practice with the process of pumping. So introduce pumping. Secondly, make sure that your baby also gets familiarized with the expressed milk, because baby is only used to direct feeding. Now, in your absence, baby will not be getting the direct feeding, but it will be the expressed milk that he will be getting. And it will not be through you or with you or by you, but it will be rather through someone outsider. It could be someone from the family, or it can be outside the family, whosoever it is. Let the baby get familiarized with that person. Another thing that you have to do is start pumping at work also. Aim to pump every 3 to 4 hours so that your breast milk supply is well maintained. And then another important thing that you have to do is that there are many moms which I've heard of. You may find it little awkward that how in the office place I will pump while I'm working. No, it is quite possible. You have to inform your people at work, and then you can go to a quieter place in your office and you can just simply sit. Sometimes I even tell mothers just to keep a photograph of your baby next to you, looking at your baby, and from the love, this love hormone, that is oxytocin, starts coming and the milk starts coming out. So start pumping at work also. And then another which is very important thing, that when you start working, you have to also, it's not that now it's only expressed milk that you have to give to your baby, but breastfeed whenever both of you are together. That means nurse or breastfeed your baby before leaving, breastfeed the baby immediately after you come back. That means that if you are returning, you know that 5 o'clock you'll be back home. So your last pumping in office should be at 2 o'clock. So that when you come back, your breast is already full and you can immediately start feeding your baby. And at night time also you can breastfeed your baby. So all this will ensure that your breast milk supply also remains, your work is also not affected, and your baby is also getting the healthy food. Another thing is, when you start working, one of the common mistakes which most of the moms do is that they start neglecting their diet. They start neglecting their nutrition. So please make sure that your nutrition, your hydration, all this does not get affected. Carry small snacks in between meals to be eaten. Carry healthy food from home itself, and make sure that you are hydrating yourself very well while you're at work. And then finally, psychologically, guilt is something which is very commonly seen in mothers, that, oh, I am leaving my baby and my baby's going, particularly the guilt factor starts coming when they see that their breast is getting wet with the breast milk and they start crying also. No, this is absolutely normal. This is just think that this is the love which is coming out and nothing. And this is only partially, it's only few hours. And even in your absence, your baby is still getting you through your milk. So you are still close, you are still connected with your baby. So therefore, think about this. Do not have any kind of a guilt feeling, and you can enjoy your work also, and at the same time continue breastfeeding.
Right, that's quite an insight, and we should be working towards it. And the last question is, sorry,
Yeah.
last question. There's one frequent concern which I have spoken with other moms also, that a lot of them have had C-section, and then they
Okay.
feel often very unsure about starting or continuing breastfeeding. Right. So,
Okay.
what would you say to reassure them?
Okay, now regarding C-section, yes, one thing that you have to remember is that there is the initiation of the breastfeeding process gets a little bit delayed, particularly after C-section. Because after C-section, what happens is that maybe due to anesthesia effect or recovery effect, or by the time you are being brought out into the room, the initiation of breastfeeding may get delayed. Then another discomfort which the mothers usually feel is that they get the pain at the incision site, where the incision has been made. So holding the baby may be challenging. So therefore, the mothers may notice that there is a slight delay of the milk coming into their breast, which can be also due to stress, which can be due to IV fluids which have been given, which can be due to the blood loss which the mother has gone through. But these are all temporary. This is not permanent, which can get resolved very easily within a day, okay, or maximum 2 days. So most mothers, it has been seen, who start breastfeeding after C-section immediately, as soon as possible, they are able to establish normal milk supply within a few days, and they are as good as the mothers who had their normal delivery. So what one must remember, that if it's a planned C-section, or even if it is not a planned one, they should start with skin to skin as soon as possible, ASAP. We say that skin to skin is something which we say is, as I said, that the baby, naked baby, to be put on the bare chest of the mother, both of them being covered, and that will not only comfort the baby, comfort the mother, but at the same time, that warmth, that love that the baby will get will help the milk to start coming out from the mother's breast. Then another important thing is that you have to make sure that you are using some comfortable positions, like a football hold is there, or a clutch hold is there, or there is some side lying position which can be used. All these you can be taught either by the lactation expert in the hospital, or if it is a plan, you can take a session with someone before that, and so that you're already prepared that what type of positions you have to be using. And then another very important thing is that if it is a planned C-section, do not get suddenly nervous about I can't breastfeed now, my baby. Do not get this negative feeling at all. This is another kind of stress. So be convinced, always remember, many mothers have done it, many mothers are still doing it, and you can also do it, be it a C-section or no C-section. Then after C-section, when as soon as you start feeling little comfortable, start feeding more frequently, because more you feed, more the milk supply is happening. I always say breast milk supply is something like the Akshay Patra. The more it empties, the more it gets filled up again and again. So same you have to remember also. Don't wait for the baby to cry. Don't look out for anything. 2 hours hua ki 3 ghanta hua. No, you have to feed your baby frequently. You may be going through some pain. Definitely. No, I cannot say that no, there will be no pain. There will be pain, but you have to ask for doctors who will give you some prescribed pain relief medicines which will take care of your pain also. There are always a lot of nurses, there are lactation consultants, experts in many of the big hospitals, and even the doctors, if you show your willingness, they will help you with the latching, with the positioning while you are in the hospital itself. And you can always ask for help from either your husband, or you can ask from whosoever is with you in the hospital to help you to lift the baby, to put the baby onto you, and to position the baby properly. So all these things are taken care of, and the hospital is the time when I would say that take this time as a practice time for you to make sure that you are able to hold your baby, latch your baby well, and start with the breastfeeding, so that once you're back home, then you're confident enough to breastfeed independently, with help or without any help. So C-section should not stop you or hinder you from breastfeeding.
Right. That really does make sense. So, ma'am, thank you so much for all the wisdom that you have shared with us today. It's clear that breastfeeding isn't just a physical act; it's deeply emotional and something that thrives on knowledge, support, and trust. Right.
Yes.
So, to all the mothers who are listening, remember there's no one size fits all journey. You're doing your best, and that is enough. We'll also be sharing Vandana ma'am's contact details and helpful resources in the chat if you would like to connect and learn more. Thank you once again, ma'am, for joining us as we celebrate the
Good.
World Breastfeeding Month. Let's continue to support each other, one mother at a time.
Thank you so much, Mehak. Thank you so much, Narayani. Yeah.